Hello everyone, and welcome back to StoneBlock. Now, in the last episode, we did a lot of work. We dug out a huge 25 by 25 by 16 pit and filled it with lava, and we unlocked infinite lava. Now this will make power generation super easy. We just need to unlock higher tiers of power generation. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to get into Powah. Yes, today we're finally going to get into Powah. We tried to do it in the last episode, but we needed a lot more power for heat generation. But I recently discovered something. By going on the FTB Discord, they actually have an FAQ guide for StoneBlock 4. And on it, they recommend you use an Ender IO heat conduit between your resistive heater and the world engine. And they said that you'll get a lot more heat out of it than by using the regular mechanism pipes. So I did that, and I did some testing, and yeah, we were able to hit 350 degrees C. We were actually able to hit way higher than that, but we really only need 350 C. So let me show you how to do it. All right, here we are at the world engine, and as you can see here, this is something that I made too. We have a quantum entangler. Now, this is mainly just going to be supplying the world engine and the resistive heater with power. And the way that you make these is actually pretty simple. It's just a mechanism recipe. I did have to make a new machine, the osmium compressor, but simple recipe, just working through mechanism. But yeah, we just unlocked the quantum entangler because we have ender pearls, we have atomic alloy. So we used that. We made the quantum entangler. And the cool thing about it is that it can have a bunch of different stuff. You can do items, fluids, chemicals, and energy. So this one is basically just going to be outputting energy for me. And I have a network set to a frequency of FE out. So this entangler has the frequency of FE out. So you just click on it and then you click set, and then it will be able to pull from the other one that is somewhere up there in my base, and then you'll be able to just pull power out of it. So yeah, we are powering the resistive heater and the world engine. Now, we do have a massive battery backup as well. I did make 2 of the ultimate energy cubes for mechanism, so they will be feeding this, but eventually it will run out until we are able to supply it with more power. So yeah, we have our resistive heater here and then a heat conduit from Ender IO. And I did craft the stuff that we do need for the energizing orb, and now I'm just going to power the resistive heater, and we're going to see if we can't get this crafted. And it does look like there is JEI integration with the world engine. So let's go ahead and turn on the resistive heater, and as you can see here, as it heats up, it's actually not heating up that much, because before, if you remember, it got to 10,000 temperature, but this is not rising nearly as fast, and the reason why is because the world engine temperature is rising so much faster now. So once it hits 350 degrees C, we should see the world machine start to produce the energizing orb. And there we go. It has begun to make our energizing orb. And we have it. Absolutely amazing. That is what we're going to need to get started with Powah. Now, the energizing orb is interesting. You can interface with it using a pattern provider from Applied Energistics 2, but it looks like we are going to have to wait a little bit to automate it, because Applied Energistics 2 auto crafting seems to be locked in this pack until you reach a later stage in the progression. So I'm just going to place the energizing orb. You don't actually have to put it on something that will give it power. It doesn't need power itself. The way it energizes the items to do its recipes is using these energizing rods. So you just place them down anywhere near the energizing orb, and then you just place items in here, and they will begin to make the different power recipes. And I guess it's time that I show you another thing that I made. I actually made a wireless crafting terminal. You see a little wireless thing up there. I have it linked to my ME system. So if I just press my keybind, which I make H, yeah, I have my own terminal. And the cool thing about this is you can turn on a pick block and then a craft if missing, and this will craft something if you're looking at it. Say for instance, I want to craft this energy acceptor. If I have a pattern set up for the energy acceptor in the future and I pick block on this, it will craft it for me and then give it to me, or it'll ask me if it wants to craft and then it will give it to me. For now, what I'm going to make is I'm going to make hardened steel, which is just gold ingots. Looks like I need to get some gold, and then iron. So let me go smelt up this gold. Okay, I now have the iron and gold. I'm just going to put 1 of each in, and as you can see, it will energize and become energized steel. So I'm just going to craft up a bunch of this energized steel. And another thing to know is there are recipes where you can do the block versions. It just requires 9 times the power, but it does it in one craft instead of 9 separate crafts. So it's the same amount of power just all at once, so you won't have to do so many crafting iterations. All right, now that we have energized steel, we can go ahead with the next tier, which is the hardened tier. So I'm going to make a few of these capacitors and upgrade our energizing rods to the hardened tier. Okay, and now we have the hardened tier. The next tier that you can make is actually the blazing tier, and that is made using these blaze lamps, which is essentially just blaze rods crafted into the block form to do the same block style recipe to make the blazing crystal. I gotta take care of a solicitor real quick. Okay, so just take the blaze lamp, stick it in, and it's gonna energize. This might take a minute though. There we go. We now have our block of blazing crystal. So I'm just going to craft up the rest of these. There we go. We now have our blazing crystals. And once again, I'm going to upgrade these energizing rods to the next tier. Okay, and now we've unlocked the blazing tier energizing rod. The next tier that you can do is the diamond tier or the niotic tier. And it requires 2.7 million for a diamond block. And as you can see, as we upgrade our energizers, this takes way less time. So you want to keep upgrading your energizers as you go through so that you can craft the next crystal at a higher speed. And do note that this takes a lot of power. As you can see, we are draining from our cables, and soon we're going to start draining from this cube and this one. And then we also have this one here that's completely drained already. So the only way we're able to do this is because we have a crap ton of battery backup. But you know me. I prepared for that. And there we go. That is the last block of niotic crystal. And you know the drill. Upgrading our rods. And there we go. We have the niotic rods. Now the last tier that we are realistically going to be able to reach is the spirited tier. And that is mainly because the nitro crystals require nether stars. And we do not have that right now. We don't even have a way to get wither skulls. So yeah, we are not going to be able to unlock the nitro tier just yet. But spirited should serve us just fine. Also, that is a hefty price tag. So we're just going to unlock some spirited crystals. It requires 9 million FE. Luckily, we have a lot stored. So yeah, we have our spirited crystal. I'm just gonna go ahead and let these other 7 blocks convert over. That is the last of these spirited crystals. Gonna convert those over and upgrade our rods. And this is how you do the upgrades. So you need the last of the energizing rod, you need some dielectric casing, and then you need a capacitor. And the capacitor changes based on the tier, but it uses the basic capacitor as the base of the recipe, and it just changes based on whichever recipe you're trying to make. So in this case, we want to make these spirited capacitors, and you're able to just upgrade your energizing rods like so, if we don't run out of quartz. Luckily, there's a chicken for that. And we can actually speed up the chicken. I made this temporal pouch. It's a quick and easy recipe. Once we unlocked a blaze rods, I was able to make this, and we got a nautilus shell. I think from just defeating, I think it was this guy that gave it to us actually in the create vault. So yeah, we were able to make this temporal pouch, and if you just use it here, it will speed it up. So you can do 4 times speed, and as you can see, it just increases how fast the chicken produces. Super useful when you're just trying to get one thing super quickly. And every second that it sits in your inventory, you're able to pull out and use. You can essentially just use it to speed up different block entities that can be tick accelerated. There we go. We now have 4 spirited energizing rods. That should be enough for a while. Now let's see if we can't upgrade this magmator as well. It's currently the basic tier. We want to try to upgrade it as much as possible. So there's hardened. We need some more capacitors to go to blazing. We've got it to blazing. We need more capacitors and niotic crystals if we want to get it to the next tier. So it means we'll probably... No, we should have the amount for spirited though. Yeah, once we upgrade it to the niotic tier, we should be able to upgrade it to the spirited tier, which will generate 4,000 FE per tick. That is way more than we are making now. And this can stack. You can have a bunch of these in a row. You might need more hose pulleys, but yeah, this is great. This is what we want. So I'm gonna go make some more niotic crystals. Also, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but there's a bit of a bug in this version of the mod pack that we're on, where glass will sometimes just look like that in your hand. It looks fine in the world, but just weird missing texture in your hand. The FTV team knows and they're working on it, so maybe this will be fixed soon. That's pretty funny though. Okay, and we now have enough niotic crystals to be able to make the niotic magmator, and we should have enough to make the spirited tier, and we do. Absolutely beautiful. So now we have the spirited magmator, and that should check off one of the things. So I worked through Powah. I explained how the heat conduit and quantum entanglement border work, and then we unlocked spirited tier crystals. And we made a spirited magmator, and now we just need to make some ender cells and gates. So first what I'm going to do is place down the spirited magmator. And as you can see, this will start producing a lot more power than we ever had before. And we're not even budging on lava. We have plenty of lava. So the next thing that we want to make is something called the ender cell. Now the ender cell requires something known as the ender core, which is just an eye of ender, a dielectric casing, and a tiny basic capacitor. So I'm going to grab these materials and make the ender core. All right, taking these three materials, inserting them into the energizing orb will give us the ender core. Now this will allow us to make the ender cell. Boom. So now that we have an ender cell, we actually need to provide it with something that can hold power. So what we're going to make is some batteries. Now we want the Powah battery. Generally, you can just use the starter tier because the only thing that these do just gives you more storage, but we don't really need that much storage because we have a lot of storage in our network already. So I'm just going to make like 64 of these batteries to give us 64 million FE, and we'll go from there. Well, it looks like we actually ran out of redstone, but that's okay. We will just come back to that later and add more at a later date. Can we not have that happen when I'm trying to record? So what I'm actually going to do is place down our spirited ender cell over here next to our power generation. And then we are going to use the configurator to push energy into the ender cell. And what that's going to do is going to fill the internal buffer. We can actually now make ender gates and then power a bunch of different machines that require power. So we're going to make the highest tier that we can. It does require more ender cores. It also requires these energy cables, which we can make. There we go. We now have our ender gates. Now, what this makes us able to do is actually tear down this old power generation. It is a bit of an eyesore. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of it. An easy way to get rid of this lava is to just turn it to obsidian. And then we'll mine it all up. Heat generators, you served me well, but you are no longer needed. As a matter of fact, so they don't clog up my storage, we're going to stick them in a barrel. We may need them for some other project sometime in the future, but not right now. There we go. All of that has been cleaned up, and now we can actually move stuff into this area. We can actually move it back and give us more room to work out here. Now, I don't want to make like a lawn base, so I will probably put some decorations around this area eventually, but I really want to work on that off camera and just show you guys how to progress through the mod pack on camera. So what I can do is I'm going to take my ender cell over here, and I'm going to link it up to the magmator. I believe I should just be able to place it next to it. Yeah, all of these sides are set to extract. So we should just be pushing FE into our ender cell, and then we can actually come over here and take one of our ender gates and place it down anywhere on our line here. So I can just place it down like right there. And then this will provide the cable with power. As long as you specify, yep, there you go. You can see it's draining the internal buffer of the ender gate, and it is going in here into this energy cube. I can actually get rid of this entangleporter for now as well, and I can bring that over here and just place it next to the ender cell itself. And then we can set the energy side to input from the ender cell. So now this ender cell is both supplying the entangleporter FE out and the ender cell ender gate network. So we can have two different types. Now the reason we might want this two different types is because you see this max IO, the 200k FE per tick. The entangleporter max out is way quicker than that. It can output FE way faster than this. So we need this for stuff that's going to be super power hungry. That's why I have this at the world machine right now. And I do still want to keep a battery backup, so I am going to place down the energy cubes and let them fill up. I'm going to place our energizing orb down there and just replace all of our rods around it. And you don't even have to have them on the top of it. You can place them on the side like this and they should still work. And now we'll be able to access our energizing orb for whenever we need to do energizing recipes. Alrighty, now that we have the first thing done, we need to do the second item on our list, which is to find an ancient city, loot it, and then complete the enchanter's quest. So what I'm going to do is actually have these two different compasses, and they're both pointing sort of in this direction, so I'm going to tunnel that way until we hit Deep Slate, and then maybe try to use my map and find an ancient city that way. So we're just gonna keep tunneling this way. Well, I was gonna start tunneling, but then I noticed that the lava pit started to drain, and what happened was when that block event happened, a piece of gravel fell down and then actually stopped it from becoming an infinite lava source. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more work with the lava chicken. Oh, that is frustrating. So yeah, just so you know, losing 1 block out of this will make it so that it's not an infinite source anymore. So I might want to go down and dig another layer, but I'm not doing that right now. Here we go. We've reached the point where both compasses are pointing in the opposite direction. Yeah, they're both pointing pretty much off to either side. So what I'm going to do is actually go to the Arcane Grove first, because that is from an earlier episode. So I'm going to dig this way. Hey guys, we may be close enough to the Arcane Grove that it will allow us to make a portal. We need to move 5 blocks closer, 1 block closer. There we go. Now we have a time door to the Arcane Grove. Here we go, guys. Hello? Oh. Okay. Well, we saw an ancient city. It's right over here. That's kind of nice. Where's our tunnel? Oh, there's Endermen, wither skeletons here. Let's see, if we had just found this place earlier, it would have been fine. Let's lockpick this. Interesting. Raw brilliance. What is in this place? Okay. Do you have the light overlay on? Finding a nether dungeon. Did a nether dungeon, like... I don't think this is supposed to be here. It's all, like, intertwined. That's kind of creepy. Yeah, the nether dungeon kind of overlapped it. Interesting. So what's inside the nether dungeon? We now have the ability to get stuff from netherrack. That's kind of neat. Let me see if holding a piece of this lights up my world. No, it doesn't. Let me go home and grab a torch. Okay. Looks like there's quartz here. What else is there? We might want to use this pickaxe instead of the silk touch one. Let's definitely get some netherrack. That's nice. There's a chest in there. There's nether wart. We need that. We've got a lot of different stuff. Of course, my inventory's full of all the stone it took to get over here. Let me go empty that out. Gotta be very careful. I only have 10 seconds to do this every time, or else I'll have to run all the way back over there. Yeah, this is not how this is supposed to spawn. It's like... Look at this. This is a red chest. Whoa. Okay. So... there we go. Bunch of different stuff. Nothing really that great, but... okay. Ow, 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 ow. Loopy, this is not the place for you to be, buddy. Hello. Goodbye. There we go, we got a smithing template. That's pretty nice, I guess. It sucks that there's structure intersected with the other one, but, I mean, I'll take the loot. Okay. Why would I want a half-health Curse of Vanishing Shovel? A Vex spawn egg. Interesting. Apparently that was a trap. It's okay, though. So I guess this is twofold. We've got another dungeon and an Arcane Grove all in one. This is what I wanted. I wanted to come to the Nether. I got what I'm looking for. Uh-oh. I thought that was a piglin. Wait, get the silk touch pick. I want this spawner. Nice. In the lava, buddy. Okay, that's a trap chest. Get rid of the TNT. Gotta spawn proof this area. Wither skeleton spawner, we need that. Okay. Gotta clear out the area. There's lots of different loot for me to get here. That's really nice. Wow, there's many different things. We're gonna be able to make a nice spawner here. That is so unbelievably loud, you guys. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to tune this down for the video, because oh my goodness. Ow. Rude. I'm trying to loot chests, man. Leave me alone. There we go. Give me that. Ow, 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 ow. Ah! Run, run. Okay. Gotta recreate that meme.
What the f was that damage, my guy? Oh! Oh!
Oh my goodness, I just got a crazy reward. 7 wither skeleton skulls. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are gonna be able to fight the wither now. Let's go. They all just fell in the lava. Yoink. I'll be taking that. Oh, wow, an enderman spawner. That's pretty nice too. Yeah, I think I've had enough of this dungeon. I'm gonna head back home after I get that chest. But not before I get this. Are we kidding? Hello. Yoink. Can we maybe process this through the enrichment chamber? If we get 2, we should, we need 1 more to get the next tier. Okay, okay. Because, yeah, if we get 1 more, there may be 1 more here somewhere. We can get a chicken seed tier 7. And then that should allow us to get infinite netherite. I'll do a little bit more searching, see if I can't find another one after I get this chest. Hey, look at that. We got pig step. Oh, here we go. Another piece of ancient debris. Get away from me! Leave me alone. I just want to get out of here. This has been nothing but painful. Whew. Okay, this is all of the loot that we have gotten from the dungeon. A lot of different stuff, a lot of spawners, some different armor that I'm going to be able to take the enchants off of, some apotheosis stuff that I'm going to be able to scrap and get into that mod. So yeah, overall, I'd say a pretty good haul. We got a gas tier that we're going to need. That is nice, because that will get us to the next chicken seed tier, which we need. And then that ancient debris that we got should be enough to get us to the ancient debris chicken. And that will allow us to unlock an infinite amount of netherite. So let's check the clipboard and then go from there. So we found the Arcane Grove. We do need to find the ancient city, but on this next page, we shouldn't need to do this anymore because we got a gas tier. So what we're going to do is unlock tier 6 chickens. Now what we need to do for that is get into occultism and make other rock, but it should be easy. We just need this demon dream fruit, and then we need a flint and steel, and then once we just grow some demon's dream, then if you drop it on the ground and burn it, you will get this spirit fire, and then from spirit fire we need to get other rock, and other rock comes from throwing diorite into spirit fire, and we have plenty of diorite because we got that from our brushers over there. So we now have other rock. We should be able to brush it up. Let's see. Yep, have a brush. Can we brush it? We can. See, we're gonna get a lot of Certus quartz, but hopefully we'll get some replica. Okay, and we got some replica. That means we're gonna be able to make that means we're gonna be able to make infinite netherite. I'm so excited, you guys. So what we can do is throw the debris into the enriching factory, get twice the netherite scrap, not make this into a netherite ingot. We need to make the chicken seed tier 6. Oh, the chicken seed tier 6. Okay, let's go up and make a bunch of this. Destroy my keyboard some more. You know the drill. Okay, now that we have the seed tier 6, what do we need to make the seed tier 7? We need this diamantine crystal. Now that comes from the atomic reconstructor, which comes from actually additions. We do need to brush up some sand for more redstone, I think. Maybe it was dust. Let me brush dust up. Yes, it was dust. I think the unearther is working on, dirt right now. He'll get through with that eventually and move on to the dust. Let us go ahead and make the atomic reconstructor now. We just need the iron casing, which we have black quartz now. So let's make this. We need an ender gate to power it. We need a redstone torch to change how it is toggled. And then we also need a button. Any button will do to be able to tell it when to power. And then we need some diamonds. And then all you have to do with your atomic reconstructor to use it, you just place it down, and then you can change the redstone mode using a redstone torch. We're going to change it to pulse. We're going to place an oak button on the top, a ender gate on the back, Or any side, really. Does it make me use this mod's power? Oh, we don't have any power in the Ender Gate. That's odd. Why do we not? Seems like all of our power is just coming into here. Let's change this. So now will you get power? Yes, now you'll get power. See, this is why I like Flux Networks, because Flux Networks will evenly split it between the two. It seems like Powah does not work that way. But we should be able to unlock Flux Networks here soon, hopefully. I think it needs another World Engine upgrade, so we're trying to push those. So I'm going to place down the diamonds, press the button, and then you get the diamantine crystals. So I can throw those back in. And now all we need is the chicken soul, tier 7. And that's going to come from the netherite chicken, because he is a tier 7 chicken. And that comes from a diamond and gold chicken breeding together with a chicken seed tier 6, which we have. So we're going to need to breed a few of those guys up and then crush them down for their souls. All right, diamond and gold, throw in the chicken seeds. I'm going to use the temporal pouch to make these breed a little faster. So we have our 3 chickens. We got the quest reward, and then we want the souls. And then the 4th chicken we're going to put into a roost. And now we're making soul tier 7s. Okay, we got those. Now we can make our tier 7 seeds. We need 1 more soul actually. And make 1 more chicken and 1 more soul. All right, now we have the 4th soul. We can make the seed tier 7. Awesome. Now that we have tier 7 seeds, we can go ahead and plant a couple of those, grow up some more, and then feed them to our netherite chicken to get netherite. All right, we now have 64 of the chicken seed tier 7s. I'm going to go ahead and feed that to our netherite chicken, and he is going to produce netherite scrap. Boom, we now have a stack of netherite scrap. All right, we now have that and that. We can check those off. We made some other rock, and we brushed it and got replica. We will work through immersive engineering in the next episode, so I'm going to leave that and that for the next episode, especially the mob farm part. Not feeling like doing that today because we still have a lot more exploration to do. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, the next structure that we're going to do is the Vault of the Wayfinder. You know what? Actually, I lied. We're going to find the ancient city using the compass. Oh, wow. And it even places a waypoint on your map. That's pretty nice. So we're just going to make our way over to the ancient city and dig in that direction. And then after we find the ancient city, we will go to the Wayfinder's vault. And it looks like it's pretty much just straight in this direction, which is nice. All right, it says the ancient city is in this direction, but I see something else on my map that I think it looks interesting. I'm going to head over there, and then we'll come back to the ancient city. Oh, here we go. We found some sort of teleport pad. For each ring, there are 4 pre-built telepads, 1 for each cardinal direction. You might run into these as you dig out, but you can also buy ender shards that are linked to them from the shop. Interesting. So we found a teleporter. So what does this do? This teleporter doesn't have an ender shard. So we need an ender shard, which you buy. Okay, so you can link them. Let's go check out the ancient city now. All right, it says right through this wall. Let's just go. It's probably down, though, if I had to guess. Yeah, this isn't the right Y level, so we do need to go down. Let's do that. I don't know the safe way to do this. Maybe getting a bucket of water and placing it under me as I go down. Yeah, this should be safe. Just get a bucket of water and then go down with the water. Yeah, we should just be able to dig like this. Have the water fall down. Go down with the water. Here we are. Here's the ancient city. Oh, we made it. Place down some mage lights. And there we are. We're in the ancient city. We made it. Let's get down there. Let's make our water column not flood the whole thing. Okay, that is a much nicer looking water column. Let's go ahead and loot the structure. This does just look to be your standard ancient city, though. Let's see here. Here we go. Here's the chest. We just need to get some echo shards. And there we go. We got some echo shards. Boom. Quest done. I do not want to stay here any longer than I need to. I'm actually kind of running out of time, so let's go ahead and talk to the Echo. You've taken your first step into the power of the deep. Complete stage. You must now craft an enchanting vessel capable of housing the three aspects of enchanting: Eterna, Quanta, and Arcana. Through careful balance, discover the proper mixture of items to reach these values or greater. 60 Eterna, 40 Quanta, and 40 Arcana. This harmony of aspects will awaken the deep shelves, turning them into vessels fit to channel the deep. Why bookshelves, you ask? Because knowledge is the key to all things, my dear seeker. Your world engine upgrade will require a few awakened shelves into Echo-infused deep shelves. These may be created by bringing the Echo shard into resonance with the awakened vessel near sources of Arcana. A few torches will suffice. Be cautious, be bold, my new friend. Task: craft 4 deep shelves and 2 echoing deep shelves. Oh, and we unlocked the rest of his shop. Nice. I'm gonna go ahead and buy this enchantment library, because that is a good thing to have. So the enchantment library allows us to take enchanted books and just place them into the enchantment library, and then you're able to pull out any enchantment that you want, and you can put it back in like so. It's going to be really nice for just enchanting our armor and gear. When we get a bunch of books, we can just throw them in, put them all in one book, and then apply it to whatever you want. Okay, now that we have that quest done, we got a staff of traveling. Interesting. Whoa, that's kind of neat. Can we go like all the way over there? Wow. Okay. Pretty cool. That will make traveling back to places like the ancient city way quicker. Wow, that is much faster than walking. Alright guys, well I am unfortunately all out of time for this episode. Stick around for the next episode where we are going to explore the Wayfinder's Vault. So, if you're excited for that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like the video while you're down there. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Peace out guys. What the heck is that damage, my guy?